Hi everyone, and welcome again to the Pole Project. This is your host Ayelet as usual. I hope you are all okay. In my country, we just entered another lockdown again. Hopefully this time it works and it helps with something. I've actually been training a lot because I have so much spare time right now. So that is one upside of this whole thing. Hopefully I come out of this lockdown like a ninja. So in today's episode, I wanted to talk about hashtag that was trending in 2016. As you probably know from this episode title already, it is the not a stripper hashtag. So in 2016, pole dancers started the not a stripper hashtag. And basically what it meant is that all these pole dancers would just upload anything that you and I upload as pole dancers to our Instagram and just tagged one of the hashtags they would add was not a stripper. Not long after, strippers started to react to that with the yes a stripper hashtag, and that is what we're going to discuss today. So the reason the hashtag was even created was that pole dance obviously has many stigmas around it, and many dancers, I guess, wanted to distance themselves from that, which in my opinion, I get it. The criticism can get really tough, and many pole dancers don't even consider themselves dancers. They consider themselves acrobats or athletes or whatever they call pole dancing, pole fitness. I mean, each to their own. I guess it is fine to not want to participate in it as a dance. I am not even talking about exotic or anything. Many people who do pole don't like pole art. They don't like the dance part of it. They are doing it more like gymnastics or anything like that. They are only doing it for the acrobatic part, and that is fine. Each to their own. Whatever you like is okay. However, saying that strippers didn't invent and create the sport you are doing now is straight up just denying and lying. Because if you've listened to my last episode about the origins of pole dance, you know that contrary to what most people believe, pole dance actually didn't come from Chinese pole. It does have roots in the ancient Indian sport, the Malakhamb, but it is not originally actually from the Chinese pole sport. Strippers were the ones who created our sport, who performed it, who made it known to people all around the world. They are the one who made it possible for you to go to your studio right now. Or do it in online lessons. You get what I'm starting to say. In general, the stigma around sex work should stop. It's 2020, for fuck's sake. And saying I'm not a stripper as if being a stripper is something bad and something you don't want to associate with. If you say, oh, I'm not a stripper, I'm just a regular person. And as I recall, one of the original pole dancers who created the not a stripper hashtag, that was what they said. They were like, I'm not a stripper, I'm just a regular person. And being a stripper isn't being a regular person. It is just so disrespectful to sex workers in general. And it is even more disrespectful when you think about the fact that without those people, you wouldn't have pole dance or pole fitness, if that's what you want to call it. I think every person who supports the not a stripper hashtag is a bit in denial about the fact that this is where our sport came from. And even though our sport can be powerful and ninja-like and elegant, and it doesn't have to be dancey, it doesn't have to be sexy, I think that calling it pole fitness and saying that it didn't come from strip clubs and trying to deny the origins of it is just ignorance, and I think it's just being a hypocrite in my opinion. I think that it is important to remember where we came from. I think that as a new sport, because our sport is relatively new, it only gained popularity in the 90s was the first time that pole dancing was actually taught by a teacher. Also a fact from last week's episode, so go check it out if you haven't yet. As a new sport like that, we really need to keep in mind where we came from. Who are the people that established us and created all the tricks and even just the basics that we know today, all the spins, all the climbs? We owe it to those strippers, to those girls who worked in the strip clubs. They were the ones who created the basics of the basics, and they were the one who elaborated it and made it what it is today. And without them, we wouldn't have pole dance. I think it is important to remember where we came from even if we continue to look forward to the future and hoping that the stigma wouldn't stick, I do think that if this is truly where we came from as a community and as a sport, then maybe it's not such a bad stigma to have. I mean, our sport did come from strip clubs. Our sport did start from those places. So is it so bad to be identified sometimes as a stripper? Most of the times it is used as a joke or as a way to disrespect you. And I am not saying that you shouldn't put those people in their places and be like, no, I am not a stripper. But also being a stripper is not so bad. Do you know how much those girls earn? And they work their asses off. They deserve it like completely. So all in all, I really wanted to discuss this subject because I don't see it come up a lot in conversations. I think it was a controversy that was left behind and not a lot of people remember it. I think in 2016 a lot of people were probably talking about it, but now I don't see many people bringing it up. And I thought it was important to share with you guys because I for once didn't know how bad the issue was until I did some research and I found out what some pole dancers had to say about strippers, and I was like really shook to my core, and I really thought that we should open this subject and really bring it up for discussion. I did mention a lot of things that are just my own personal opinion in this episode, and I know some of you might not agree with me, and that is okay, each to their own. Please remember that those are all just my personal opinions. If you don't share the same opinions, that is fine. I don't expect anyone who listens to this podcast to think exactly the same as I do. But that being said, I hope that we can still remain civil and even if we disagree about some subjects, remain strong and respectful as a community. And even if you don't want to do exotic dance, if you don't want to do pole in heels, if you don't want to dance at all, that is fine. You can do your ninja tricks without being hurtful and disrespectful to the people that created our sport. So yeah, that is it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I will remind you again to follow along on Instagram. It is the Pole Project Podcast, and we also have a Facebook page. It is the Pole Project, and I would love for you guys to contact me. Please DM me or private message me on Facebook or on Instagram, whatever you prefer. I would love to hear from you. If there is any content that you would like to see, I would love to hear about it. Please let me know if there are ideas for episodes that you would like to hear. If you want to be featured on an episode because you feel like you have something unique to say, then I would love that. Let me know. I am available. I promise to answer each and one of you. So yeah, that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you again next week. Until then, goodbye and happy pole dancing.